My phone lit up with Tommy's name, and for once, I wished my little brother would just leave me alone. But something in my gut told me this wasn't about his usual drama. His voice cracked before he even said hello. "Lucy, you need to come home." "It's Hannah." I gripped the edge of my desk, knuckles white against the polished mahogany. "What happened?" "Martha took her to that fancy salon in the city. They made her dye her hair platinum blonde. Cut it all off too. Said it would help her fit in better at the country club." The rage built slowly, like acid eating through metal. Hannah's beautiful auburn curls, my mother's curls, destroyed by that controlling witch. Put Hannah on the phone. She won't talk to anyone. Locked herself in her room. Derek's acting like it's no big deal, says she needs to learn to present herself properly. Tommy's voice dripped with disgust. You know how he gets when Martha starts pushing her agenda. I closed my eyes, remembering all the times Derek had sided with his mother over me. Over our daughter. She's 16 for God's sake. They had no right. That's not all, Tommy cut in. Martha's been talking about sending her to some fancy boarding school in Switzerland. Says she needs proper finishing. The pen in my other hand snapped, blue ink spreading across my quarterly marketing report like a bruise. The hell she will. What are you going to do? I stood up, already pulling up flight options on my computer. What I should have done 2 years ago when I left. I'm coming home to fight for my daughter. Derek won't like that. Derek can choke on his mother's silver spoon. I hit the purchase button for the next available flight. They want to play games with my daughter's life? Fine. But they're about to learn that I've gotten very, very good at strategy since I left. Tommy was quiet for a moment. You've changed, sis. No, I said, watching the confirmation email pop up. I've just stopped pretending to be someone I'm not. Tell Hannah to hold on. Tell her. I swallowed hard. Tell her mom's coming home. I ended the call and stared at my reflection in the office window. The city lights below seemed to pulse with the same fury coursing through my veins. Derek and Martha thought they could erase me from Hannah's life, mold her into their perfect little society puppet. They forgot one thing. I'd spent the last 2 years building brands and destroying competitors for a living. Time to put those skills to better use. The Bennett house loomed before me, its pristine white columns and manicured lawn a monument to Martha's obsession with appearances. 2 years away hadn't changed a thing, except maybe made it more suffocating. Tommy met me at the door, his face tight with worry. Derek's not home yet, but Martha's inside with Hannah. Perfect. I straightened my jacket, the same power suit I wore to demolish competitors in boardroom meetings. Time for a family reunion. The foyer still smelled of Martha's signature lemon polish, but the family photos lining the walls told a story. Every recent picture of Hannah showed her smile growing more strained, her poses more rigid. The latest one, taken at some country club event, might as well have been of a stranger. Martha's voice drifted from the sitting room. Really, Hannah? That attitude isn't becoming of a young lady. I rounded the corner, and there she was, my daughter, perched on the edge of an antique settee like a bird ready to flee. Her beautiful hair was now a harsh platinum blonde, cut in severe angles that made her look years older. Her eyes met mine, wide with shock. Mom. Martha whirled around, her perfectly lined lips thinning to nothing. Lucy. What an unexpected surprise. Funny how that happens when you mutilate my daughter's appearance without parental consent. I kept my voice level, professional. The same tone I used before destroying someone's career. I am her grandmother. You're nothing but a manipulative witch who's about to learn exactly how much damage I can do. I turned to Hannah. Go pack a bag, sweetheart. You're coming with me. Martha stood, smoothing her designer skirt. Derek has primary custody. You can't just watch me. I pulled out my phone, showing her the screen. I've spent 2 years documenting every violation of our custody agreement. Every time you've interfered with my visitation. Every manipulation. One call to my lawyer, and your precious reputation gets dragged through every court in the state. You wouldn't dare. But I saw the flicker of fear in her eyes. Try me. Hannah, go pack. Hannah hesitated, looking between us. Dad won't like this. Your father stopped having a say when he let his mother turn you into her personal dress-up doll. The words came out sharper than intended. But I couldn't stop now. I'm done playing nice. This ends today. The front door slammed. Derek's voice boomed through the foyer. What the hell is going on here? I smiled. The same smile I gave competitors right before I crushed them. Perfect timing, Derek. We need to talk about our daughter's future and your mother's complete removal from it. The manila envelope landed on my hotel room desk with a dull thud. Inside were photos, dozens of them. Hannah at school events, dance recitals, family gatherings. 2 years of memories I should have been part of, all orchestrated by Martha. Each photo showed Hannah being molded, changed, stripped of everything that made her unique. But it was the last document that made my blood freeze. An application to Le Rosy, Switzerland's most prestigious boarding school. Already filled out. Already signed by Derek. My phone buzzed. Jenna's text read, "Found something else. Martha's been paying Hannah's therapist. The same one who's writing recommendation letters for the boarding school." I dialed Tommy. "I need you to get into Derek's home office." "Already did. There's more, Lucy. Remember that trust fund Mom left for Hannah? Martha's been acting as trustee. She's using it to fund this whole transformation project." The pieces clicked together like a poison puzzle. They're trying to erase every trace of me from Hannah's life. The hair, the clothes, the therapy. It's all about making her forget who she really is. "There's a board meeting at the country club tomorrow," Tommy said. "Martha's presenting her youth development initiative. All the society families will be there." Perfect. I pulled up my laptop, fingers flying over the keys. Time to show everyone exactly who Martha Bennett really is. A soft knock at my door made me pause. Hannah stood there, her platinum hair harsh under the hallway lights. "Mom? Can we talk?" I cleared the screen. "Always." She perched on the edge of the bed, twisting her hands. "Grandmother says you're trying to ruin everything. That you're jealous because Dad and I have a better life without you. Is that what you believe?" "I don't know what to believe anymore." Her voice cracked. "But I found something." She pulled out her phone, showing me a video. Martha and Derek in his office, their voices clear through the speaker. "Once she's in Switzerland, we can start fresh," Martha was saying. "No more of Lucy's common influence. Hannah will finally be the proper Bennett heir she was meant to be." "And if she refuses?" Derek asked. "She won't. The therapist has already diagnosed her with anxiety and depression. If necessary, we'll convince her it's for her own good. After all, what judge would argue with medical professionals?" Hannah's hands shook as she stopped the video. "They're trying to send me away." I pulled her close, feeling her tears soak into my shoulder. "No, they're not. Because tomorrow at that board meeting, your grandmother is going to learn what it really means to lose everything." I reached for my phone again, but Hannah grabbed my wrist. "Mom, wait. I want to help. I'm tired of being their puppet." I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. Behind the manufactured exterior, I saw a fire in her eyes that Martha had never managed to extinguish. "My fire." "Okay," I said. "Let's show them what happens when you push a Bennett woman too far." The country club's mahogany-paneled boardroom felt like a trap closing in. I sat beside Hannah, watching Martha command the room with practiced ease, presenting her youth development initiative to Millbrook's elite. Every perfectly crafted slide showed smiling teens transformed into cookie-cutter society darlings. Hannah's before and after photos drew appreciative murmurs. My laptop hummed quietly, ready to broadcast the truth. One click would expose everything: the manipulated therapy records, the misused trust fund, the boarding school scheme. Hannah squeezed my hand under the table. Then Derek stepped up to the podium. "Before we continue, I have an announcement." He locked eyes with me. "Regarding recent allegations about my mother's involvement in Hannah's care." My finger hovered over the enter key. Something in his tone made me hesitate. "Lucy thinks she's protecting our daughter." He pulled out a folder. "But what my ex-wife hasn't shared is her own history of unstable behavior. Her documented episodes of paranoia, her tendency to manufacture conspiracies." The room went silent. Hannah's grip tightened. "I have here a psychological evaluation from 2 years ago, right before our divorce. It details Lucy's persistent delusions about family members plotting against her." He placed the papers on the table. "I've been protecting Hannah from this truth, but given recent events." The blood drained from my face. That evaluation. The one Martha's friend had insisted on during the divorce. The one I dismissed as another power play. Mom. Hannah whispered. Is that true? Martha's smile carried all the warmth of a shark. We only want what's best for Hannah. Luce's difficulties are precisely why the boarding school would be such a healthy environment. I reached for the laptop, but Derek wasn't finished. I'm filing for an emergency custody hearing. Given Lucy's deteriorating mental state and her attempts to disrupt Hannah's progress, we feel. Stop. Hannah stood up, her chair scraping against hardwood. Just stop. Sweetheart, Martha started. No. You want to talk about mental health? Let's talk about how you've been drugging me. The room collectively gasped. I froze, my revenge plan forgotten. Hannah pulled out an orange prescription bottle. I found these in my bathroom. Anxiety medication I never agreed to take. Grandmother's been crushing them into my morning smoothies for months. Derek's face went ash-white. Mother. It was for her own good, Martha snapped. She was becoming difficult, just like her mother. I watched my daughter, my brilliant, brave daughter, face down the woman who'd tried to break her. And I realized my revenge wasn't what mattered anymore. This was Hannah's moment to reclaim her voice. And Martha's carefully constructed world was about to shatter. The police station's fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across Hannah's face as she gave her statement about the drugging. I watched through the window, my hands clenched around a paper cup of cold coffee, while Jenna worked her legal magic. Mrs. Bennett, we have a situation. Detective Morris appeared beside me, his expression grim. Your daughter's toxicology report shows more than just anxiety medication. There were traces of stronger psychiatric drugs, the kind typically used for severe personality disorders. The cup crumpled in my grip. What? Martha Bennett's been arrested, but she's already posted bail. And she's talking. He slid a document across the table. Claims you've been coaching Hannah to make false accusations. Says she has proof you've been planning this for months. My phone buzzed. A text from Tommy, Derek's cleaning out the trust fund. All of it. Right now. Another buzz. An email from Hannah's school. She'd been withdrawn, effective immediately. Transfer papers already processed for Lou Rosie. Mom. Hannah emerged from the interview room, looking smaller than her 16 years. Dad's here. Derek strode in, flanked by 2 lawyers. His face was carved from stone. Hannah, get your things. We're leaving. She's not going anywhere, I started, but Detective Morris caught my arm. Actually, Mrs. Bennett, given the current allegations and Mr. Bennett's primary custody, you can't be serious. I turned to Hannah. Tell them everything. But Hannah stood frozen, looking between us with terror in her eyes. I can't remember exactly what happened anymore. Everything's so confused. One of Derek's lawyers stepped forward. The trauma of being manipulated by her mother has clearly affected the child's ability to distinguish fact from fiction. We'll be filing for a psychiatric evaluation. What have you done to her? I lunged toward Derek, but Jenna caught me. Lucy, stop. This is exactly what they want. Hannah's voice cracked. Maybe I should just go to Switzerland. Start fresh. No. The word came out like broken glass. I won't let them. Let them what? Derek's voice cut like a whip. Protect our daughter from your obsessive need for revenge? Face it, Lucy. You're so focused on destroying us, you can't see you're the one destroying her. I looked at Hannah, really looked at her. The dark circles under her eyes. The way she seemed to fold in on herself. The fear when she glanced at me. What was I doing? 48 hours, Derek said. That's how long you have to drop everything. The accusations, the custody fight, all of it. Or I'll make sure you never see her again. He turned to leave, but paused. And Lucy? Mother sends her regards. The pharmacy records arrived at midnight, delivered by a nervous-looking intern from Jenna's law firm. 2 years of prescriptions, all written by Dr. Eleanor Price, Martha's closest friend and Hannah's supposed therapist. I spread them across my hotel room floor, building a timeline of chemical manipulation. Anxiety meds escalating to antipsychotics. Mood stabilizers increasing in dosage. Each prescription perfectly timed to coincide with Hannah showing any sign of independence. My phone lit up. Hannah's number. Mom. Her voice was barely a whisper. I remember something. About the pills. I'm listening. Grandmother. She said they were vitamins at first. But I started feeling strange. Foggy. When I questioned it, she told everyone I was having episodes. Like you. A knock at my door made me freeze. Through the peephole, I saw Derek standing there alone. Hannah, hold on. She's not on the phone. Derek's voice came through both the door and my phone. She's here with me. Aren't you, sweetheart? The call ended. I yanked the door open. Derek stood there, holding Hannah's phone, his expression unreadable. We need to talk. Where is she? Safe. With Mother. Preparing for her flight tomorrow morning. My chest tightened. You're really going to send her away? Unless you sign these. He pulled out a stack of papers. Full custody surrender. Public retraction of all accusations. A gag order preventing you from contacting Hannah until she's 21. You can't. I can. And I will. He stepped closer. You know what's funny? I actually believed you at first, about Mother going too far. But then I remembered you always did this. Turned everything into a conspiracy. Made everyone else the villain. The prescriptions were necessary because you made her like you. Paranoid. Unstable. His voice softened. Sign the papers, Lucy. Let her have a normal life. I looked down at the pharmacy records. At the progression of drugs designed to make a teenage girl doubt her own mind. Just like they'd done to me during the divorce. No. Derek's face hardened. Then I'll see you in court. Where Mother's friend Dr. Price will testify about your history of mental illness and your campaign of parental alienation. Where every judge and social worker will see exactly who the real threat to Hannah is. He dropped the papers at my feet. You have until dawn. Choose wisely. The door clicked shut behind him. I stared at the scattered prescriptions, each one a link in the chain they'd built around my daughter. Around me. They'd planned this from the beginning. Every move. Every accusation. Every pill. And now I had to choose. Fight and lose Hannah forever, or surrender and let them win. Dawn was coming. I walked into Martha's pristine living room at exactly dawn, custody papers in hand. Derek stood by the fireplace, Martha perched on her favorite armchair like a queen on her throne. No Hannah in sight. The papers. Derek held out his hand. I pulled out a pen. First, I want to see her. Sign them. Martha's voice carried the weight of victory. Then you can say goodbye. My hand hovered over the signature line. You know, I spent all night thinking about what you said, Derek. About me making everyone the villain. I clicked the pen. Then I remembered something important about villains. Just sign the damn papers, Lucy. They always keep trophies. I dropped the papers and pulled out my phone, hitting play. Martha's voice filled the room. The trust fund transfers are complete. Once she's in Switzerland, increase the dosage. Dr. Price assures me it will make her quite manageable. Derek's face went slack. Mother. It's obviously doctored, Martha snapped, but her hands gripped the armchair tight enough to whiten her knuckles. The police have the original, along with Dr. Price's full confession. I smiled. She folded surprisingly fast when faced with losing her medical license. Turns out she's been writing illegal prescriptions for years. For you, Martha. You're lying. Check your phone, Derek. The evidence is in your email. Every prescription. Every bank transfer. Every conversation about turning Hannah into a proper Benedict, just like they tried to do to me. Derek pulled out his phone, color draining from his face as he scrolled. You don't understand, Martha stood, mask finally cracking. She's just like her mother. Wild. Uncontrollable. I had to. Had to what? Hannah's voice cut through the room. She stepped out from behind the study door, Tommy beside her. Drug me? Erase me. Hannah, Derek breathed. I didn't know. Yes, you did. Hannah's voice shook. You just didn't want to see it. Because then you'd have to admit what she did to Mom. What you let her do to both of us. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Martha lunged for her purse, but Tommy blocked her path. Going somewhere, grandmother? Maybe to destroy more evidence. I did everything for this family, Martha hissed. Everything to maintain our standing, our reputation. Your control, I finished. But you forgot something crucial about reputations, Martha. They're my specialty. The front door burst open as police officers flooded in. Through the chaos, Hannah crossed to stand beside me. Her platinum hair was already showing auburn roots. Let's go home, Mom. Derek stepped forward. Hannah, please. No, Dad. She didn't look back. I'm done being anyone's proper Benedere. We walked out together, leaving Martha's perfect world crumbling behind us. Hannah's auburn curls caught the morning light as she painted broad strokes across the canvas, her art studio taking shape in what used to be Martha's formal dining room. The irony wasn't lost on me. This room had once been reserved for proper society luncheons and carefully orchestrated appearances. The doorbell rang. Derek stood on the porch, holding a familiar wooden box. Hannah's baby photos, he said. Found them in Mother's things while cleaning out her house. I took the box but didn't invite him in. Through the window, I could see Hannah watching us, paintbrush frozen mid-stroke. The board voted. Derek continued. I'm stepping down from the foundation. Seems Mother's influence went deeper than anyone knew. Dr. Price implicated half the town's elite in her prescription scheme. Karma's funny that way. He shifted, uncomfortable in his tailored suit. Lucy, about what happened. Don't. The word came out sharper than intended. You don't get to rewrite this story. I'm not trying to. He pulled out an envelope. Hannah's trust fund. The real one, from your mother. Untouched. She should have it. I studied his face, the new lines around his eyes, the slight tremor in his hands. Martha's sentencing is next week. I know. I'm not going. He glanced past me to Hannah's studio. Some chains need to be broken. The envelope felt heavy in my hands. Through the window, Hannah had resumed painting, her strokes bold and unfettered, just like her grandmother, my mother, would have wanted. She's happy, I said. Free. Because of you. Derek turned to leave, then paused. I found Mother's journals. The things she wrote about controlling me, about making me the perfect son. I should have seen it sooner. But you didn't. No, I didn't. He straightened his tie, a nervous habit from childhood. Tell Hannah. Tell her I'm getting help. Really getting help this time. I watched him walk away. This man I'd once loved, once hated. Now just another person struggling to break free from Martha's perfectly constructed cage. Inside, Hannah had added splashes of defiant red to her canvas. Was that Dad? Yes. She nodded, continuing to paint. Think he'll ever understand what they did to us? I opened the wooden box, spreading out photos of a younger Hannah. Before Martha's influence, before the pressure to be perfect. A wild-haired girl with my mother's laugh in my spirit. Maybe. But that's his journey now, not ours. Hannah dipped her brush in paint the color of freedom. Good. Because I've got better things to paint than other people's expectations. I placed her baby photos on the windowsill, facing the rising sun. Some chains do need to be broken. But some bonds, the real ones, grow stronger for having been tested by fire.